Hello friends and welcome to my channel Iballdesigningdeveloper. Like you all know that previously we have covered up many of the videos about C++. Like in previous video I have told you about recursion, and we have also covered up about like these things previously on as well. Like I have also worked on elements and variables, and I hope you understand all that things here. So in this video we will be understanding that what is OOP in C++. Like if we are starting with OOP, so basically what's the work of this OOP function which we are using, or it's an element, you can also say it as. So I hope you'll be enjoying this video from a start, in which we will be learning OOP from start to end, that if we are working with OOP, so what's the purpose to use it and why we use it and how we use it here in C++. So if you understand this video and if you enjoy this tutorial here, so remember to hit a like to this video, and if you're new on this channel and want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing a notification bell as well, so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I'll be uploading in future. So now what we are waiting for, let's move to computer screen and let's get started. So now here we are on the computer screen, and like I've told you in the start that today in this video I'll be telling you about OOP, like what is OOP in C++, how we use it and why we use this OOP in C++ here. So first of all we need to understand what is the full form of this OOP which we are using in C++. So this OOP stands for Object Oriented Programming Language, and procedural programming is about writing procedures and or functions that perform operations on data, while object-oriented programming is about creating objects that contain both data and functions. So if we talk about OOP, so normally you can say it as an object-oriented programming, which is the full form, and we used object-oriented programming to proceed functions that perform operations on data, while object-oriented programming is about creating objects that contain both data and functions. Object-oriented programming has several advantages over procedural programming. OOP is faster and easier to execute. OOP provides a clear structure for the programs. OOP helps to keep the C++ code dry, don't repeat yourself, and makes the code easier to maintain, modify, and debug. OOP makes it possible to create full reusable applications with less code and shorter development time. So these are some advantages of object-oriented programming that you can use, or you can just see when you are creating any program. So the main, I think you can just say a main advantage of this object-oriented programming is that it is possible to create full usable applications, and you can use or you can create these applications with less code here, and you can also take shorter development time to create that. And the tip is that the don't repeat yourself try principle is about reducing the repetition of code. You should extract out the codes that are common for the application and place them at a single place and reuse them instead of repeating it. C++, what are classes and objects? Classes and objects are two main aspects of object-oriented programming. Means we have already learned about classes and objects here, but these are the two main aspects of object-oriented programming, and you can just see this illustration to see the difference between classes and objects here. The first class which we are getting is of fruit. Then if we talk about objects, so these are the objects which we will be getting in this fruit, which is a class which we have created. So this is an example of class and objects which you can use here. And the other example which you will be getting, first you will be getting the class of car, and in the car you will be getting objects like car names you can add here, like Volvo, Audi, Toyota, like this. You can add many names of your cars if you want to add. So this is another example of classes and objects which you can use. So a class is a template for objects, and in an object instance of a class, when the individual object are created, they inherit all the variables and functions from the class. You will learn much more about classes and objects in the next chapter. Means I'll be telling you about classes and objects more in the next tutorial video, and I hope you'll be enjoying that as well. So in this video there is not any practical work like that, because I just need to tell you that what is object oriented programming. I hope you understand what is object oriented programming. In short words, you can say object oriented programming just help us, or it help us to contain data and functions, and if anything is helping a user to just contain both data and functions, so it's very useful, because classes and objects is one of that thing. And I hope that classes and objects will be really helpful for you, because if you are creating any program, software, any website using C++, so for that you need to use object oriented programming there. And object oriented programming we will be using because it is faster and easier to execute. It provides a clear structure for the programs, and it helps the C++ code to dry, which means don't repeat yourself. You don't need to repeat the code again and again like normally you do in HTML, CSS, but that are not programming language, that are a coding language. But we will be compare that thing with C++, because if beginners is starting that things in start, like if beginner is creating website using HTML CSS, so it will be really difficult for them, like they need to create the front end and the back end, all the things. But same thing if they are using creating that thing in C++, so it will be easier for them to create that thing with less code and with shorter development time. But thing is that C++ is really hard to learn because HTML CSS are the coding languages, so that languages are easy to learn. C++ is difficult to learn, but now we have covered up many of the videos of C++, so beginner can be now create their own programs, and they can also create their own software developing like applications, and they can also just create websites as well. Like we have covered up many of the tutorial videos, like I can say 71 to 72 videos which we have uploaded in this tutorial series. So a beginner can now create a simple program, or you can say a simple software in C++, because these are some basic things which I am telling you. And moving forward, we'll be covering up some advanced level things as well in this tutorial series, so that you can also understand if we are using that thing, so what is the advantages of using that things in C++. So I hope you understand in this video that what is object oriented programming, why we use it, and what's the purpose to use it here. So if you have understand this video and if you enjoy that how we can use object oriented programming in C++, remember to hit a like to this video. And if you're new on this channel, want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing, hit notification bell as well, so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I'll be uploading in future. So now I'll be meeting in next project or in next tutorial video of C++ from start. So for today, goodbye.